And welcome to the remote learning in the upcoming 2021 remote school year. We are 9 months into the pandemic, and I'm so thrilled to be joined here today on this amazing webinar with folks from Rahi Systems, from Zoom, from Valley Christian School, and myself, Jennifer Kalishu. I'm a faculty member at the Berkeley Executive Coaching Institute, as well as at UC Berkeley's Haas School of Business. And I'm thrilled today to be joined by Anne. She is the global lead in education for Zoom. Anne, tell us a little bit about you and how you've ended up here.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having us. We're such great partners with Rahi Systems, and so it was just a pleasure and honor to be here. So I joined Zoom 6 months ago, and but I have been in at the intersection of education and technology my whole career, just about. And so it's been the big reason I joined Zoom was when I saw that Zoom actually made the decision, a very bold and very caring decision about lifting the time limit for K-12 schools to make sure that they could carry on with learning during this pandemic. That just really inspired me. And so when I got the phone call saying, hey, they're looking for a global education lead, do you think you'd be interested? I was like, absolutely. This is an amazing place, and I want to be a part of something like that.
That's so fantastic. And we're also very lucky to be joined here by the Director of Technology at Valley Christian Schools. Mike, tell us a little bit about you. And my goodness, I can't imagine the challenges that you've been facing with a K through 12 school system coming
Yeah,
into
thanks.
this pandemic.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a crazy ride for sure, but we're very thankful to have such great partners and friends, and it's definitely been a team effort. I joined Valley Christian way back in 1997. We were building our own computer systems, and we were connecting the network literally with some electrical tape and twisted pair, and so been here a long time, seen a lot of great advancements in technology in education, and so we're glad to continue that tradition.
So excellent to hear. And of course, we're thrilled to introduce our host, Tyrone, the co-founder and CEO at Rahi Systems. Tyrone, thank you so much for bringing us all together today.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer, for moderating this panel, and thanks to Anne and Mike for joining us here today. I'm sure our viewers would love to hear how you guys are coping with all the challenges brought on by this pandemic, and what is your plans going into 2021. And I think your professional opinions on what you have accomplished in the last 9 months, how you have planned in the future, and what you're doing to help others would be really beneficial for our viewers. I started Rahi about 8 years ago. I met with Eric Yuan, the CEO of Zoom, back in early 2017. And he really inspired me to look at video collaboration as a technology solution space to get into. And since then, Eric's been a great mentor, and we have been on the Zoom bandwagon long before. And we're just thrilled to have an awesome partnership with Zoom and our customers, especially like Valley Christian and several of the higher education schools that are really delivering the education for the kids in this pandemic. So, and thanks, Jennifer, again for moderating all of us. So, thank you.
Well, I will join you on that Zoom bandwagon. I tell you, I do not know what we would have done in my work as teaching everybody from undergraduates all the way up through very senior executives. The fact that we can bring together people from all over the world into our virtual classrooms, that we can break them out, have them build connections together. It has been life-changing for us and makes us feel honestly closer to people that we probably would not have had the opportunity to work with were it not for Zoom. And I'll just keep saying the breakout rooms, so magical. I love them. So let's hear a little bit from our panelists today about what are you looking forward to in 2021? How are you feeling about this start that we have? We have perhaps a bit of light at the end of the tunnel as we are rounding the corner here into the new year. And what is on your mind as you're thinking ahead?
For 2021, we're very much into deep planning for 2021 and really taking an assessment of what did we learn, and we all had to learn very, very quickly a lot of new things, right? And I know Mike is going to talk about that. And so we learned about how people use Zoom, and ways that we never ever imagined, right? And the adaptability, right, of people, and oftentimes education is sort of been said that it's like moving the Titanic, or right, they're so slow to change, and boy did we see people change. And I think the big motivator and what motivates us going into 2021 is really looking at how do we improve that learning experience, and not only the learning experience, but the world of work has changed, right? So, and all the people that support the learning environments, and the people in the communities that support the learning environments, we're all faced with this change. So just how can we do things better? How can we learn from what and we're learning so much from our customers. We listen a lot to our customers, and they are very vocal, and it's fascinating to hear. So we're really looking forward as to operational excellence. How do we improve teaching, learning, but more importantly, how do we engage with one another, especially our students?
Well, Mike, I imagine that this idea of really engaging with your students, looking ahead to 2021, how are you feeling about what is possible given
Yeah,
the
I'm
turn?
excited about it actually. In fact, that's the number one thing that we're focused on right now is improving our hybrid learning model. Look, we know the vaccine is here. It's about to be given to first line emergency workers and nurses and people like that. And so that's exciting news. We love the idea of getting back to normal, but I think that our new normal is going to involve hybrid learning. And so, for us, it's going to be a matter of trying to improve that experience, take the experiences and the learnings that we, have had for the past few months, even over the summer and into the first, semester of classes as we wind down, heading into the holidays and the semester break. We've learned a lot. We learned what works well, what doesn't work, and we want to revamp it. And so we're looking at things like improving our tool set, providing better training for a lot of our teachers. I think one of the challenges we've had in the classroom is you have traditional teachers that wanted to take that traditional teaching style and then move it into the virtual space. And the reality is you can't really do that. It's a different environment. There are different dynamics there. And so the challenge of trying to connect with kids, make sure that they're engaged. These are all the things that we're working on, and tools like Zoom help to make that a possibility by, as Ann mentioned, listening to the customers and saying, hey, it'd be great if we had this feature or that feature. And we've seen such a surprisingly quick response from a big company actually listening to people like me who have opinions and then actually implementing them, which is great.
Well, I have to say, my team today installed a new update, and the fact that co-hosts can help manage some of the breakouts
Yeah.
has been magical.
Yeah.
Even today, it improved our work. And so we are already excited that Zoom is so responsive. And Mike, it sounds like that there's a lot of collaboration as well, that you're really listening to what the teachers have to say about what's working. You're obviously seeing what is going on with the students. Tell us a little bit about, what are you thinking about some ideas that you have for the future?
Yeah. So, speaking of collaboration, I think, Tarun talked earlier about, silver linings and all this. And I think one of the silver linings for us working in IT is, we're often just focused on the systems and providing, tools and technology to assist others in doing their job. One thing that's been thrilling for me, again, just having worked in education for a couple of decades, is being able to play a bigger role in what happens through our online education tools, our remote learning tools, and so that's actually been thrilling. It's been really fun to kind of be part of that, to be a part of those meetings with the other educators, and having them look to us and say, well, this is what we'd like to do. Can we do it? And so while I've always had that role, that's always been sort of part of what I do, it's been ramped up because it's the only way we can deliver online education right now is through that remote learning model. So so that's been fun. And so I again, looking ahead, I think we're going to see a lot more of that. We're going to see some of the, I would say, you sort of have to take what you do in real life, if we can put it that way, or on campus, and compromise a little bit for remote learning. And so we're looking at ways that we can compromise less, so we can actually enhance the remote learning experience, so that in some ways it's even better than what we were doing before. Now that's a tall order, but to your example of breakout rooms, I mean, that's a perfect example of, in real life, the breakout sessions would result in possibly a couple of people disappearing, whereas in a virtual breakout room, you can click a button and now everybody's back to the group.
I personally really appreciate as well the intentionality that I can bring to how I mix people up, putting different types of small groups together, pairs, trios, bigger groups, rotating that, sometimes using the Zoom magic, we call it in my group, of the automatic assignment versus real intentionality around,
Right.
okay, this person needs to work with this person now. And so it really has enhanced way more than we would do in a traditional classroom where it might be just turn to your neighbor and then you're always turning to the same person. We can really actually improve upon the learning experience. So, Anne, I'm sure that a lot of this you're hearing from the folks that you talk with in the large education space. Something like 73% of the largest school districts are remote only. What are you hearing that they are wanting? And well, maybe you can give us a little bit of a preview of some of the roadmap that's coming our way.
So they want a lot, but most importantly, what they want is they want a secure, reliable, scalable platform, and they want it. They just want it to work, right? And they don't want to have to think about it too much, and so that they can focus on the teaching aspect of it, the interactions with their students. And we've seen a lot of people being just very innovative. And the other day I was talking to a teacher and she said that the waiting room, when she has everybody in the waiting room before class starts, she's allowed the students to be able, each day a different student gets to do their playlist. And so she said it's great because they want to listen to what songs is this person going to play. And so just things like that. So the whole breakout rooms, right? There's a lot, like that co-host feature was a big one. And the fact that, going back to the waiting rooms, now we allow you to be able to see visually who's in the waiting room, so that there isn't, this sort of fake person there who might pretend to disrupt the class. And actually, we're coming out with a suspension button, so that if you need to shut things down, it's like one button, shut it down. But there's so much collaboration tools. And then the thing that I'm really excited about is, learning really should be personalized, and how we've been talking about personalized learning for a long time. And so our app marketplace, we have so many partners that, if you like this particular tool, whether it's for proctoring or it's another collaboration tool, or it's some sort of design tool, or like a story, or a little, there's all kinds of partnerships that we have. But the other thing we're doing is we're allowing you to be able to have an in meeting experience. So we have Zoom app partners that you don't have to leave this experience here, and you can just pull up maybe some doodle pad that you use, or something that's your favorite. And so we're just trying to make things flexible enough that you can choose based on your pedagogy and your style, how you want to interact. And high quality audio, do Do you want to teach music? Do you want to do a play? So we're just trying to look at across the board, how can we just enhance the way that experience for everybody?
I love hearing that and hearing some of these, ideas that are really bringing in all of the collaboration that's out there in the world. I mean, we are incredibly lucky that we're all here in the Silicon Valley, that we are in this epicenter, but we know that there's so much great stuff happening worldwide. And the fact that Zoom is really a global leader in this space means that we can draw upon the technology from everywhere. Tyrone, I'm curious, I would love to hear a little bit, what are you hearing some of these challenges in the education vertical as you're talking to customers? What are folks facing? My friend, the mute button.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there has been quite a few technological challenges that we have seen, especially in the higher education vertical. And I I want to say from a start perspective, it's the network infrastructure. In order to deliver an exceptional remote learning, you need to have a robust network infrastructure that everybody can be on and benefit from. And that's where Zoom makes it easy because it adapts to everybody's infrastructure. I might be on a different speed compared to somebody in India, somebody in China, somebody in Europe. And Zoom really developed the technology to adapt to the network infrastructure that everybody brings to the table. So I think that is the first challenge that a lot of the education vertical had that Zoom was able to solve, right? And the second is that, delivering video is a very complex piece of technology that seems very simple, but underneath it, it's a multiplex of bringing multiple video streams that everybody has to be coordinated. There has to be no latency. So this entire technology infrastructure has been a key piece of why customers went to Zoom. And then when you think about deploying Zoom within your environment, now you need to start thinking about how do I do whiteboarding? I mean, as simple as how do I bring the concept of whiteboarding to everybody? And how do I make that whiteboarding experience available for everybody to also be able to use the same whiteboard, right? Uh, the second aspect in this is polls, questions, Q&A, being able to raise hands, being able to project emotions, right? And being able to do those emotions in a coordinated way. I mean, all of this requires a lot of underlying technology infrastructure. And to top it off, the security challenges that you then face, making sure everybody is authenticated with the ID, making sure they are genuinely entering the place where they need to be, and making sure that the person who's moderating that particular session has the ability to suspend or manage people in and out. I mean, those are all very, very important features. And when you think about it, just the UX of implementing that, all the way down to the physical wire that connects into your remote whiteboard, right? I mean, all of that has to work together. So I feel like this is the part where actually a lot of different providers came together and adapted. Zoom was one of the providers. You look at all the internet service providers who decided, hey, we're gonna up the bandwidth without any additional cost, right? When you look at like companies that make products to enable Zoom, right? I mean, those guys came to the table with massive supply chain disruptions and still were able to execute and deliver. So I think this was a very unique experience. And I think as we go into 2021, we are going to further enhance it because now you're going to have this hybrid model where somebody's going to be in the classroom, somebody's going to be remote, and that experience is going to be equally better, right? So I think there's a lot more to look forward to and a lot of positive things to look forward to in the next year.
That's
So,
so.
Jennifer, can I just add to that? I think you were spot on, and you made me realize there's a big piece of that I think is important to share about some of the challenges, and that's accessibility, right? And so we have people dedicated just to thinking about accessibility, and so how do you we now have live transcripts, right? And the fact that you can pin someone so that you can have your your interpreter. If I have a communications challenge that I need to have an interpreter, so I can pin that interpreter, and I can then also be able to read lips and see everything. And so how you move around these tiles, how you pin it, how you change your gallery view, the live transcript, the recordings, and we actually, another little sneak preview, we're going to take all the reactions and put them in one place. And we're going to animate some of those reactions. So like when you clap, there might be a little sound applause there, to make it funny. But just things like that make it that help people with who learn differently and who have different communication styles and needs, that we're really trying to take that and into our design. Actually, it's really incorporated in our design aspect. And Tyrone, you're absolutely right. It's that's not a simple engineering feat, and it takes a lot of cloud storage. It takes a lot of engineering and thinking about something that seems so simple but is so necessary, because we want to be as inclusive as possible.
Well, and I know that it must be incredibly important, Mike, for you and the school to think about, how do we not only bring together the children in the classroom with their instructors, their teachers, but then how do we communicate with parents, and what sort of parent meetings do we have so that we can really be as inclusive as possible for the diversity of families that are out there with a wide variety of technology at their fingertips. I mean, we heard that, when you originally started back in 1997, early days of the World Wide Web, I think maybe some of us remember those, it was a much different experience than what it is now. And the expectations are very high, but we're not all there yet as a society. Not everybody's at the same level. And so I'm curious, as you made this switch into Zoom remote only world, you're maybe looking ahead to 2021 where there might be more of a hybrid model. Tell us a little bit about your thought process in implementing all of this.
Oh, well, it was, I used the cliche earlier that it was like drinking out of a fire hose, but it really was. I mean, it's just the best example I could think of. Things were coming hard and fast, and we weren't exactly sure if, the pandemic was really as bad as we were being told, and would we really need to close school? So we had 2 solid days before we, knew we were going to have to close school, and then 2 days to prepare. And fortunately for us, again, we were already a one-to-one school. We had already leveraged, digital curriculum, digital textbooks. We were no stranger to the use of technology in the classroom. So I think we were poised in a really good position to just pivot, to move offsite and carry on, our quality academic offerings in the classroom. And our teachers have undergone a ton of training. And I think, that can't really be understated. I mean, they're the ones that actually put all of this technology to use and just did an incredibly amazing job. We connect with parents all the time. So it's a really, astute observation you just made there. Matter of fact, tomorrow night, we have another, what we call our community groups, just a way to keep our families connected with one another, things we normally would do with campus activities that we can't do. So we're trying to just, reach out to families, have them reach out to one another with organized events. We did our, last spring, we did our virtual graduation. We did a combination of technologies, including live and pre-recorded technologies. We had kids submit their own, home videos and, photos and things that they wanted to include in the celebration. And we got every single high school senior, not just their senior photo, but, just a fun thing that they, take pride in, whether that's an activity, sports, or just a hobby or something about them to personalize it that we included. And so just stuff like that all the time. We've got our own form of a PTA group that we connect with using our Zoom large meeting upgrade. We use, the webinar feature all the time. So it's been a really invaluable tool for us in allowing us to continue to do what we do.
What I'm hearing too is that even in, of course, this education vertical that we're all talking about today, it's not just about the didactic learning, the curriculums, the pedagogy. It is about those social connections. It is about the relationships that we can build. And so, Anne, it's wonderful to hear about some of these additional tools that we know really facilitate our ability to remember that we're human beings here in our little boxes all day long, that we're people. And so I love that we can have this sense of connection. And Mike, it sounds like your school is doing an amazing job making the students feel part of a community.
Well, soon
Doing
you
our
won't have
best.
to live in this box. We are delivering what's called immersive experiences. So you could actually create like a classroom environment if you want, or let's say you were doing some sort of a theme. You could create the experience of the theme, like it could be a holiday theme, or a sports theme or whatever. So we're giving you that ability to create so that we don't have these Brady Bunch Hollywood squares all the time, but so that you can actually look like you're sitting around a table or, and you maybe Homer Simpson's, living room there if you want to do something funny. But anyway, we're trying to create things so that you feel more engaged and more together, and not just in these little boxes.
Well, I mean, I really do feel like it's brought out a whole new level of creativity that I've seen. We did I'm sure many of you have been on Zoom birthday parties and Zoom happy hours. And we did a team round the world Zoom trip together where each person hosted each other at different destinations and, used the Zoom background. We played music. We had a lot of fun with it. And it really reminded us again that, we really like working with each other. We really enjoy our time together, and we can also be so incredibly effective with this technology. It's really been pretty amazing. Well, I have a couple more questions for us before we wrap it up for today. When you're looking ahead, I'd be curious to sort of get everybody's take on this. What are these post-pandemic scenarios? This will end, but the world is shifting, and I think we all agree we're not going back to the way it was in 2019. That is long gone. So, what are some of these scenarios that we're planning ahead for? Maybe we'll start with you, Mike, in school.
Sure. Well, post pandemic, we feel like our experience with remote learning was a success. We feel that it's taught us a lot, both what works and what doesn't work as well as we thought it would. We feel like we will always now have a remote learning component to what we do. So if a student, for example, has an extended illness or has to have an extended absence, maybe going on a college trip or has another opportunity to travel or to just for whatever reason not be in school, that person doesn't have to miss out on that education for that day or those days. That would just be seamless. It would be part of what we do. And moving forward, we also plan to have a full-blown hybrid school that will generate its own high school transcript, bringing together sort of best of breed approaches, not just in education, but in technology and engagement and that sort of thing. So those are our plans moving forward.
That's super exciting that we can offer these incredibly high quality experiences more than just to the people that are in our own backyard. And what is exciting to you about these post pandemic scenarios?
One of the things that I think is really exciting is I said, we had to open up the classroom doors and send everybody home. And like Mike said, not everybody is going to come back for a variety of reasons. But the other thing is we don't have to close the classroom door. We can invite in now guest speakers. We can do virtual field trips. We can do all kinds of things that, that bring, like you were talking earlier, you had some executive coaches that were in your program that were able to come from all over the world to give their sage advice. And so just imagine you could actually, maybe you could get Jill Biden to come talk about, what it means to be a teacher and a first lady at the same time. It's possible, right? And so just the fact that we can leave the classroom doors open to a world of wonder and knowledgeable people to be able to help educate our students is fascinating to me.
It has made the world so much smaller, and that is a wonderful opportunity to really draw on the depth of talent that exists globally. And I know that for the students that I work with, whether they are 18-year-olds, fresh, well, I guess they're still in their parents' home, but fresh into the world, versus very senior executives who now have the opportunity to learn from each other. As Anne was saying this morning, I was on a Zoom call with people who are becoming certified as executive coaches, and we had our alumni calling in from Hong Kong, from Thailand, all the way over to the Netherlands, to the UK, of course, across the United States. And they would not have been able to join us for a couple of hours were it not for Zoom. So we're very grateful for that. Tyrone, how about you? When you're looking ahead to 2021 post-pandemic life?
Yeah, I think post-pandemic life, 2021 is going to be very interesting. First of all, I think it's going to be in one sense, I think it's going to be very emotional for all of us, right? The fact that we will now be able to connect and see each other and have that human interaction back again. It's going to bring a certain amount of emotions in all of us across the globe. From a technology perspective, I think the leap that we have made in the last 9 months is huge, and I think there is going to be some profound changes in the way we work, we play, we live, we educate ourselves as well, right? So I think there is going to be this is almost going to stretch us far ahead, and the possibilities for the kids around the world, right, are huge. I mean, there is no reason today why a kid in India or China or any remote part of the world can't be part of an education system that doesn't level him up to the same level as in the Western part of the world. So I think the possibilities are huge for, I mean, the level playing field that we have been looking for, that says really bring the merit on that level playing field, take out the privilege, right? That is truly happening. I mean, it is truly, truly happening today. And it's happening at all different levels of our world, right? Whether it's education, whether it's software development, whether it's teaching piano, right? I mean, I have somebody who's teaching German to my daughter, and she's based in Mexico, and it's amazing. These possibilities are endless, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And I think we have to rise up for those challenges, and a lot of positive things will come out as we end this pandemic.
Oh, what beautiful, inspiring words. Thank you so much, Tarun. And a big thank you to Anne and Mike. Anne, any final words for our community?
I would say just keep innovating and keep just like try things out and experiment. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, experiment. And you're if you're a teacher and you're experimenting, the kids just appreciate that. The students do, of all ages. And I think for the sort of the future of work in education, there's we're going to have to adapt to different work styles. And so I think there's a lot of tolerance and acceptance, and we're bringing some humanity back to work. And I think that right there, humanity and connection. And I think that's really what this whole webinar was about, in the sense of giving that hope for the future. It's not just bring the technology, it's about the humanity.
That's so true. Mike, final words.
Oh, I just just show appreciation for the people that provide the tools that we can leverage. I agree, and 100%. It's not just about the tools, but there's only so much that we can do if our video conferencing system isn't as reliable as being able to walk into a classroom and have class. We take that for granted, and I think as a testament to how well Zoom has served us, we've gotten to the point where we take Zoom's reliability for granted. But I just want to take a moment to say that we're appreciative, we're thankful for it. We're thankful for partners like Rahi too, who bend over backwards to help us when we need it. We can't do it alone. It's a team effort, and you guys play an important role in that. And so, thanks for recognizing the role that you play. And yeah, we'll keep doing what we do. And thanks a lot.
Thank you all so much. A wonderful team. Thank you, Tyrone, for bringing us all together. Thank you, Anne and Zoom, for being such amazing partners to so many schools, higher education, all the way K-12. Everybody really benefits from it. And Mike, it's so great to hear such a wonderful next generation coming up with wonderful technologies to support them. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.